What it do? YouTube. This your boy Pound for Pound Boxing Real News. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Hit that bell notification if you want to be notified. Let's go. What a fight! The last fight was crazy, man. Matias versus uh in a non. What a fight! That shit was crazy. That shit was crazy. Phone booth boxing right there. Toe to toe shit. You know what I'm saying? Two men laying it all out on the line. You feel me? What a fight. That shit was crazy. Magsayo is now in the ring with the Naruto fit. My man is the last airbender. Looking like the goddamn last airbender. Sean Gibbons in the corner. Oh shit, from Cap Heights. Y'all already know what time it is, man. PG County in the house. Gary Russell Jr. Let's go. What the fuck is Gary wearing, man? What the fuck is this sweater vest looking shit right here? That joint got a mid zipper though. You must be crazy. Yo, Gary, a wild ass dude. Oh shit. Oh shit. Gary Russell Jr. came out with the. Gary Russell Jr. came out with the. Oh shit. Shit getting real, man. He came out with a whole chakra. Is that what you call the dudes that be like? I think that's what you call the dudes. What's going on, Apollos? What's good? Yes, sir. Gary Russell Jr. versus Mark Magsayo. Gary Russell coming out right now. PG County, Cap Heights. Y'all know what time it is, man. Gary Russell's going through a lot, but Gary Russell's coming out tonight. Let's see what Gary got. Atlantic City. I just don't know what the fuck Gary Russell is wearing though. That's one thing I'll tell y'all. This mid zipper sweater vest hoodie with a fucking thin back. I don't know what my boy wearing, but he in the ring though. 6-1, 4 knockouts in the world title records. Mr. Gary Russell Jr. is now out here. Man, what a fight. The undercards, yo. King Tug, man. That dude, you know what I'm saying? Very disappointing fight for him. They called out the referee right after. Shit was crazy. They said, you don't see that right in the screen? He's like, I don't even see the hook. You know, he was trying to save his ass. But sometimes as refs, man, you just gotta be like, oh well, yeah, I wasn't in the position to see that, man. You know what I'm saying? I fucked up. You know what I mean? As a ref. That's something you gotta be able to take that on the chin. You a human, you know what I'm saying? You can make mistakes. Shit happens. You know what I'm saying? But what sucked was that was the point for the victory for I can't remember the other dude's name. You know what I'm saying? But they got a draw. The other dude was a short notice guy that came in and he fought his heart out. You know what I'm saying? Definitely deserved the victory over Numbar. King Tug, you know what I mean? He definitely deserved the victory. But he ain't get it. You know what I'm saying? And it's boxing, right? Then we saw Subriel Matias versus Inanan. And what a fight that was. That was a thriller right there. Man, probably the best round already of the year right there. I mean, two guys that were going toe to toe, giving it they all, leaving their heart out in the ring. Subriel Matias gets this knockdown. And basically, Inanan couldn't even get out of the corner. You know what I'm saying? He couldn't even get out the corner, yo. And the doctors came over. Everybody was checking on him. He looked basically defeated. and the doctors told the ref, yeah, he can't continue, and the ref called the fight. You know what I'm saying? But y'all remember Subriel Matias? You know what I'm saying? That's the guy that fought Maxim Dedashev. Rest in peace, Maxim Dedashev. You know what I'm saying? I remember watching that fight. That was under Teofimo Lopez Nakatani undercard. Crazy, crazy fight. That saw Maxim Dedashev after that fight died on a Tuesday. That fight was on a Saturday. Maxim Dedashev was in ICU and stuff, and passed away on a Tuesday. So rest in peace, Maxim Dedashev. But Subriel Matias came out and he was putting in work, man. You know what I'm saying? He lost to this guy in and on, got his revenge back, and was victorious tonight. You know, but main event now we got Mark Magsayo, who's 23-0 with 16 knockouts. Freddie Roach is in his corner, coach under Manny Pacquiao Promotions. You know, from the Philippines, deemed to be the next Manny Pacquiao of the Philippines. So, you know, he came out. He looks mentally tough, mentally ready. He looks physically ready. You know, definitely a great opponent for Gary Russell Jr. Gary Russell Jr. gets past this dude tonight. Gary Russell Jr. is the truth. Okay, Gary Russell Jr. is the truth. And here we go. The man of the hour, world champion, WBC champion, Gary Russell Jr. out of Capitol Heights, Maryland. 31-1, 18 knockouts. Let's go. His only defeat came by Lomachenko. You know what I'm saying? But man, let's go, champ. Long time current reigning and defending WBC champion, Mr. Gary Russell Jr. Let's go, Gary. PG County. Oh, his pops is there. His brothers is there. You know what I'm saying? His father had to get his, I believe his foot amputated not long ago. You know what I'm saying? So, man, great thing that his father is right there in his corner. Definitely can't work the corner, but he's there to watch his son. And hopefully, Gary Russell Jr. can pull off a win, man. PG County, let's go. And here's the main event, folks. Oh, it's a packed house in Atlantic City. This arena got filled up, man, for sure. Yes, sir. And we on. Here we go. Both fighters meet up in the middle of the ring. Gary Russell comes out with a nice little jab by Gary Russell. Gary Russell, Magasayo's not as slow as I thought he would be. Ooh, Magasayo's trying to get inside of Gary Russell. Gary Russell moves to the side, and Magasayo misses him with a wild right hand. Uh-oh. These guys came out antsy. They came out happy. They came out ready. Ooh. Nice body shot by Magasayo. Nice combination by Magasayo. Maybe landed one out of like a three combination punches. Gary Russell working the body of Magasayo. Magasayo try to catch Gary Russell with a hook, but Gary Russell's not there to be hit. Gary Russell he's tough. He's definitely tough. And Magasayo's trying to keep this jab out. You know what I'm saying? Create some distance between Gary Russell. Trying to Gary Russell tells the ref that was kind of a low blow. Nice little jab by Magasayo. Nothing really too concrete, nothing too clean. Magsayo looks very ready. So does Gary Russell. I feel like Gary Russell is very composed, very ready for this fight. Even though he had the nice left hook by Gary Russell Jr. Nothing too concrete right now in this. It's only the first round. We went 1 minute and 1 minute exact in the first round. So they still filling each other out. They're not trying to commit to too much. But Gary Russell definite. Big uppercut right hand by my by Magsayo on Gary Russell Jr. And Magsayo is fast as well. That was Magsayo countering Gary Russell Jr. Big right hand. And Gary Russell looked like he gonna go down. He got hit with a two punch combination. Now Gary Russell goes down with a nice left hook, and Gary Russell knows he's in the fight now. Right hand by Magsayo landed on Gary Russell. Gary Russell with a double jab, and Magsayo comes back with a double jab. Gary Russell keeping his hands up. There we go, and that's the end of round one. Let's go. This is gonna be a good fight. I told everybody earlier, if y'all listen to it, I said Mark Magsayo, take the plus money on Mark Magsayo. You know what I'm saying? Sprinkle a little something on Mark Magsayo, just because Gary Russell is going through a lot of things right now, personal issues, and plus he says he had an injury. You know what I'm saying? So you just never knew what kind of Gary Russell you was gonna get tonight. I still have Gary Russell parlayed, so I'm not too worried about it. If Magsayo if Magsayo loses tonight, I'm not too worried about it. You know what I'm saying? But I definitely sprinkled a little something on Magsayo for sure. Yeah, that right uppercut definitely caught Gary Russell Jr. And Gary Russell Jr. wasn't expecting this guy to be this fast. I don't think so. Round two is now about to start, and here we are. Both fighters meet up in the middle of the ring. Magsayo, big right hand by Mike Magsayo. It looks like he stumbled Gary a little, but Gary Russell still coming forward. Another left hook by Mark Magsayo. Okay. And Gary Russell makes a miss and then hits him to the body. And now Mark Magsayo has that Manny Pacquiao jumpy movement. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know how Manny Pacquiao just jumped right in front of you. Big fucking uppercut by Mark Magsayo. And it looked like Gary Russell taking some punishment here. Come on, bro. You got to do this shit. Gary Russell, and then plus coming off that long layoff, man, I was definitely like, man, you got to sprinkle something on Mark Magsayo, because Mark Magsayo had some crazy, big left hand by Gary Russell Jr. that kind of looked like he stumbled Mark Magsayo. I ain't gonna lie, but Mark Magsayo took it well. And Mark Magsayo kind of looks like he's a little cautious now. After that, he kind of looked cautious now. Gary Russell Jr. making Magsayo miss, and making a miss. Sheesh. Hey, Gary Russell Jr. though, man. Big uppercut. That right hand uppercut by Magsayo kind of stumbles back Gary Russell. But these dudes going right back at each other. Man, two warriors right here. Two warriors giving each other everything. You know what I'm saying? And this is only the second round. We have 1 minute and 5 seconds to go. Gary Russell Jr. kind of slips, misses with the wild left hook. And Gary Russell Jr. needs to establish his jab, man. I just feel like Gary Russell Jr. is not establishing his jab. Another big right hand for Magsayo, and Gary Russell Jr. is not really adjusting or making a miss on that. And y'all know what happens when you start seeing one big shot keep on landing. His reaction time is just not there. Gary Russell Jr. has got to make an adjustment to that right hand. That big right hand over that looping right hand is definitely catching Gary Russell Jr. over top. Another right hand by Magsayo, and Gary Russell Jr. is not He has to start making that adjustment. I would like for the corners to definitely say, "Yo, ooh." Now, Gary Russell Jr. comes in with a straight left hand and catches Magsayo. Magsayo took it well. Now Magasayo's coming back again. Ooh, big right hand by Magsayo. Magsayo keeps on catching Gary Russell Jr. with that big right hand, man. And the corner needs to tell him he has to start adjusting to that right hand. He's got to do something. I'm sure if I seeing it, they have to be seeing it. He's getting hit way too much with that right hand. He might get knocked the fuck out if it keeps on happening. Now they saying Russell's keys to victory is create doubt early, let the combinations flow, and he has to land the right hook. Something that Magsayo has actually been landing on him. You know what I'm saying? So we have to see. But Gary Russell Jr. is in the fight. You know what I'm saying? And Mark Magsayo doesn't look too bad. You know what I'm saying? Magsayo's keys to victory is fight tour, not just power. And he has to land the right hand, which he's landing. He's landing that a lot. You know what I'm saying? He's landing that a lot on Gary Russell. Now Gary Russell has to make this adjustment. Let's see if Gary Russell makes that adjustment to that right hand. Gary Russell comes out, and now both fighters take a lick. Oh shit! Here we go. Here we go. Ooh, big body shot by Magsayo on Gary Russell Jr. Gary Russell, nice combination by Magsayo, catching Gary Russell, ending to the body, and that's a key thing that I definitely look at. I'm like, who's ending to the body? Oh, and Gary Russell Jr. knows he's in a fight, and he gives Magsayo a 3 left hook pop combination, and he catches Magsayo each time with that combination. Let's go. We in a fight. We in a fight. Let's go, Gary. Ooh, left hand for Magsayo that lands on Gary Russell Jr. And Gary Russell Jr. makes Magsayo miss, and that right hook gets Gary Russell Jr. Now Gary Russell Jr. He still looks pretty composed. He doesn't look too antsy. He looks pretty patient. I mean, he's gotta let his hands go, and he's gotta throw some better combinations. Keep that. He keeps that hand out, but I would like him to jab a little bit more, especially with that stiff jab that he just threw right now. And Magasayo's going to Gary Russell's body. Yo. And Gary Russell Jr. is not. He's not letting them catch up to him. You know what I'm saying? Gary Russell Jr. still look like he the champion there. Even though he's with a very worthy opponent, and it looks like he might be down on the scorecards, but he's still not. He's still not, washed up or nothing like that. He still looks good in there. You know what I'm saying? Now we're gonna see how it goes when time does go, right? But we're in the third round, a minute left on the clock, and this is a very good fight, guys. This is a very good fight. Yeah, I just need Gary Russell to keep on jabbing, man. He hasn't thrown many jabs, and I think that he needs to establish that jab, especially against a guy like Magsayo, and keep moving on him. You know what I'm saying? Because Magsayo is tall. You have to frustrate these guys. You have to frustrate guys like Magsayo, right? You gotta make him want to go to war, but he can't catch you. That's what you gotta really do to him. You know what I'm saying? He can't catch up to you. And you gotta frustrate him. Nice work by Gary Russell Jr. And now Magasayo's kind of smiling because he knows he's getting caught. Now Gary Russell Jr. is starting to put the work on Magasayo. And Magasayo's kind of looking lost in there right now. He kind of looked lost right now. Magasayo kind of looked lost. I'm not. I ain't gonna lie to you. Stephen Fulton out there, Jerron Boots Ennis out there. Seen a couple people up out there. You know what I'm saying? All the people from the Mid Atlantic. But Stephen Fulton got this weird ass North Face red. I don't know what the fuck he wearing. Stephen Fulton saying that he wants to unify. So he's saying, he's saying that he might want Brandon Figueroa again, and he's looking to fight in the springtime, somewhere around April or something like that. And then he says he wants Brandon Figueroa again. Okay, okay. It's really good because it was a very controversial win. You know what I'm saying? So I think he wants to double back and get that very solidified victory. And now Magsayo comes in on Gary Russell Jr. But Gary Russell Jr. is still making Magsayo miss. Now Gary Russell is starting to look a little bit like way better than what he was looking for. Looking like it was still early. It's still early now. We in the fourth round with 2 minutes and 30 seconds to go, and he's looking like and it looks like Gary Russell Jr. is hurt. And it looks like Gary Russell Jr. is hurt. He might have broke his hand. He might have broke his hand. The hand that he was said that he injured. He looked like he broke his hand. He said, ow, and Magsayo came in and started putting out a flurry of punches. He's trying to get the ref to stop this fight. Oh, man. And Gary Russell Jr. has now, it looks like he broke his hand, guys. It looks like he broke his hands. He is not throwing the right hand at all. He's not jabbing. He's not doing anything with that right hand. He's trying to stay away from Magsayo as much as possible. And now Gary Russell Jr. knows he's in trouble. Magsayo, ooh, and he catches Magsayo with a nice left hook. Nice left hook by Gary Russell Jr. that catches Magsayo trying to get on the inside. But Gary Russell Jr., another left hook by Gary Russell Jr. And Gary Russell Jr. has figured I can outbox this guy with my left hook. That's it. I don't even need another left hook by Gary Russell Jr. And now Magsayo is putting his hands up. And now Magsayo is not really doing anything. He's staying stagnant. He's not doing nothing, no motion, no nothing. And Gary Russell Jr. is just boxing Magsayo with one hand. How does Magsayo not understand that Gary Russell Jr. has a broken hand? How doesn't Magsayo understand that? I don't know why the fuck he's just standing in front of him getting hit by a left hook. This guy has lost his shit now. And Gary Russell Jr. is putting his fucking almighty left hook on his ass. Another two combination left hook by Gary Russell Jr. with just the left hook. Nothing else. There's nothing else. Gary Russell Jr. has now lost his right hand, and Gary Russell Jr. it looks like he's been just boxing with a left hand all his training camp, because he's doing better with the left hand than even actually using the right hand. He was actually getting dogged with the right when he was using his right hand. Then he broke it. And now the man is back with only one left hand, and he's looking better. He's fucking up. Magsayo doesn't really know what to do. And 2, 3, 4, 5 left hands by Gary Russell Jr. Yes, his right hand is broken. His right hand is broken. He has not thrown his right hand at all, ladies and gentlemen. And then Magsayo's lost his shit. He doesn't understand that this guy has a broken hand. Why the fuck would he jab? I mean, why the fuck would he throw 5 continuously left hooks? You fucking idiot. Because his hand is broken. Of course. You know what I'm saying? This is a fighter with one hand. You have to get on. You have to put your whole entire everything on Gary Russell Jr. Yes, sir. Gary Russell Jr. definitely broke his right hand, guys. He broke his right hand. Yeah, he did. Oh, man. What a fight. But it looks like Gary Russell Jr. definitely has broken his right hand. Either his right hand or he threw his shoulder nod. Gary Russell Jr. said he's all right. He gonna keep going. But I think they saying it's the right shoulder, right? Oh, nah, that's the right hand, yo. He fucked his right hand up. Jeez, but it might have been the shoulder. He might have popped the shoulder out. Something might have happened, but he's not using his right hand no more. He's going to use his left hand the whole fight. Now, this is very, very, very dangerous. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be very dangerous because Magsayo is a guy that has power. You know what I'm saying? So if he wears him down and he catches Gary, and Gary can only throw a left hook, then it might be over. It might be lights out. It might be night. You know what I'm saying? But Gary keeps catching Magsayo with a left hook, and that's all he's going to use throughout the whole fight. Now, Gary Russell Jr. throws another left hook that catches Magsayo, and Gary Russell Jr. needs to stay off of the ropes. If he wants to win this fight, he's going to have to stay off the ropes. But maybe he feels comfortable on the ropes. The guy's been swimming with sharks. The only man to get eaten by piranhas and get out of the water to save his life. He saved his own life. Jesus Christ. Yeah, Magsayo, I mean, he's still outboxing Magsayo in my eyes, right? I still feel like he's outboxing Magsayo. Magsayo doesn't really understand that he broke his hand. Or maybe he just can't get inside because he's scared of the left hook, right? But you have to be able to neutralize that. You have to be able to neutralize that left hook. If you can neutralize that left hook, then you have the victory right then and there. But now, see, guys, this is exactly why I said sprinkle some money on the plus money on Mark Magasayo, right? Because look what happened. The right, the right hand is now broken, or the shoulder is popped. Either one, either or, right? This is a guy that's fighting with one hand. So this is why I said it was the perfect brew, the perfect mix for this guy to lose tonight. Okay, it was the perfect storm. So if this was a sure fight, this is where you want to put Magasayo plus money on, it's straight back. You know what I'm saying? Put $20 down, get you $70 back. You know what I'm saying? But right now it's looking like Gary Russell's not doing bad, man. He's not doing bad just with the left hand. He's not doing bad at all. He looks like he's outboxing Magsayo. Magsayo doesn't really have anything. Magsayo looks like he's starting to get frustrated. Exactly what I've been saying. You have to frustrate Magsayo. Magsayo has to get in there and be frustrated. He's jumping up and down, but he's not really putting out. He's not active. He's not active enough at all. There you go. Now the combination start pouring from Magsayo, and Gary Russell Jr. goes down to a knee. But that's from a push down from Magsayo. Now Magsayo and Gary Russell back in the middle of the ring. Gary Russell Jr. throws his left hook, misses. Magsayo now comes forward, and that's break. That's time right there. I don't know, guys. I don't know. This fight is crazy. This fight is crazy. And Freddie Roach, yeah, back 18. I don't know what the fuck. This is exactly what Freddie Roach said, guys. I think I know the game plan now. Fuck him up. That's what I would have told him. I just saw as soon as he said "ow," you know something wrong with that right hand. Fuck that right hand up. I'm punching your right hand. I'm punching your shoulder. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna fuck your shoulder up. You know, whatever it is, right? If he has his hand up, boom, punching it. Keep weakening that right hand so he could drop that right hand, right? Because that right hand is definitely in Magasayo's face, and he can't see when that left hook keeps coming from Gary Russell, right? So every time that I see the right hand of Gary Russell Jr. up, I'm punching it. But Magasayo doesn't have a goddamn clue in there. Freddie Roach, I don't think he's had a clue since 1994. And here we go. This is round 6 right here. 2 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock. Magsayo, nice combination by Magsayo that splits the guard of Gary Russell Jr. Gary Russell Jr. now backing up into the ropes. Left hook by Gary Russell Jr. Another left hook by Gary Russell Jr. And then he moves to the side. Now Gary Russell Jr. is kind of getting a little mad in it. I could definitely see it. But if I was Magasayo or his trainer, I would keep telling him, yo, throw your left hook to his. I'll throw something to his shoulder. You know what I'm saying? Don't forget about his shoulder. Because if he's hurt, then you have to do something. You know, Magasayo needs to be dirty. Hell yeah, bro. I mean, look, this is the perfect time to be dirty. If you're gonna be dirty, this is the perfect time. This guy's already injured. He's fighting with one hand. He doesn't want to be there. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure Gary Russell Jr. does not want to be there right now. Think about it. Dog, you just broke your shit. You know what I'm saying? Last thing you thinking about is this bullshit. You ready to go to a hospital and get that shit checked out. You know? But This is the time for Magsayo to step up and start fighting a little bit dirty. You know what I'm saying? But Magasayo's just standing in front and catching left hooks. And I'm not understanding what the hell is going on here. I'm not understanding why he's not doing enough. You know, is he frustrated? Is he tired? Is he very impatient? Gary Russell Jr. is making him miss a lot. Magasayo had a lot of success in the earlier rounds, and now Gary Russell Jr. is just outboxing, making him miss, being quick, being fast, and catching him with left hooks. Doesn't throw a right hand to save his life, and he's beating him with one hand. You know what I'm saying? And Magasayo just looks like he's in there looking crazy. You know, he's not doing nothing. And Gary Russell makes Magsayo stumble a little bit with another left hook, and making a miss, making a miss. This is Gary Russell Jr., folks. Gary Russell Jr. will make you miss. He's very fast. He's very quick. You know what I'm saying? And if you allow him to frustrate you, he will frustrate you. Magsayo is now lost. He's looking frustrated. He's looking defeated. Gary Russell Jr. making a miss. He's beating him with one hand. This is ridiculous. If I was his trainer, I would get in there and I would body slam Gary Russell Jr. Matter of fact, I wouldn't body slam Gary Russell Jr. I was body slamming Magsayo. You know what I'm saying? Because of the reason for this dude is getting beat by one hand and he's not doing shit. It's embarrassing. And it would be embarrassing to me as a coach if you can't stop this motherfucker and he only has one hand to fight you with. See what I'm saying? This is when you have to make Gary Russell Jr. You have to be dirty. Exactly what Apollo said. You have to be dirty. See what I'm saying? You have to be dirty because if he's moving out a lot on you, you have to be able to, because you're not gonna beat him at his own game, right? He'll outbox the shit out of you. He'll motherfucking move on you so fast that you'll be lost and you'll look crazy. He did have a three punch combination, two out of three landed definitely, but he keeps getting caught with the left hand. See what I'm saying? Keeps getting caught with the left hand. And that's the problem right now. He keeps getting caught with the left hand. And you know that's the only punch that Gary Russell Jr. has right now. See what I'm saying? You know that's the only punch that he has. It's the left hand. It's the left hook. That's it. There's nothing else. No, nothing less, nothing more. That's it. So you know that, right? Now you have to pull her up. You have to start throwing flurries. You have to start giving him all you've got. Gary Russell Jr. definitely felt that punch. He stuck out his tongue. And one thing Magasayo should start doing is trying to, when you're in the ropes, get to him. But he keeps getting caught with a left hand that he does not want. See what I'm saying? He does not want. But the total punches landed, it looks like Magasayo has landed 89 and Gary Russell has landed only 40. So it's looking like Magasayo might get off the punches landed, but we'll see. You know what I'm saying? We'll see how the judges see this, right? Gary Russell Jr. is definitely the world champion, the WBC world champ, but they have Magasayo and Gary Russell 57-57, the unofficial scorecard. It is even within 6 rounds. We are now in the 7th round with a minute and 30 seconds to go, and they have it tied. So Magasayo, if he doesn't find nothing in the second half of this fight, I'm not too sure what's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? I'm not too sure what is he really gonna be able to do. You know, this is your shot. You're 23-0. You have 18 knockouts or something like that. You have to come out and you have to show, right? If you want to be a world champion, you got to fight like a world champion. Right now, he's not fighting like a world champion, to tell you all the truth. I think Gary Russell Jr. is fighting more of a world champion because he is the world champion, right? But I feel like he's just fighting like he's gonna keep his belt. You know what I'm saying? Sky Mark Magasayo does not have a different speed change, nothing. He doesn't understand that the left hand is the only thing that's coming. He doesn't understand that this guy is only has this left hand. So I from what I'm seeing, I still give the fight to Gary Russell Jr. This guy Mark Magasayo is pretty much lost in there, frustrated, doesn't know what to do, can't figure out the left hand is the only the only shot. You know what I'm saying? He can't figure that out. And if you can't figure that out, well, it's time to go back to the gym. You know what I'm saying, and work on different things. But we'll see how this fight goes, for sure, because we are only in round 7 with 10 seconds to go. So we'll definitely see how this round goes. Well, I mean, this fight goes. It could definitely turn for the better or the worse, right? Another left hand by Gary Russell Jr. that lands on Magsayo. He doesn't understand. Stay the fuck away from the left hand. But, you got Chris Goldberg versus Roger Gutierrez, and then Antoine Russell versus Victor Postol. Okay. And Kaz versus Martinez. But Chris Colbert, February 26th, Chris Colbert versus Roger Gutierrez. That's a pretty good fight right there. It's a good fight right there. The Russell family up there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, man, hey, the grit of Gary Russell Jr. to be still in this fight. You know what I'm saying? With only your left hook. You know what I'm saying? With only your left hand. That's some warrior shit right there, man. That's some warrior shit. You know what I mean? Nice double jab and landing with the right by Magsayo. That's some real shit right there, bro. You know what I'm saying? With one hand, he's still in there. He's still another big left hand, counter left hand by Gary Russell Jr. Oh man, it's starting to rain in. You know what I'm saying? We in the 8th round with 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go. And Mike Magasayo, he started off very hot. He started off good. He started off pouring punches on Gary Russell Jr. Was doing better work on Gary Russell Jr. But once I think it was for the best that Gary Russell Jr. might have broke that right hand, because he was doing worse when he had his right hand and he was utilizing his right hand. I mean, Mark Magasayo was catching Gary on a lot of exchanges, catching him on better exchanges. But the left hand is what's actually saving Gary, right? Gary has to stay off the ropes, but Mark Magasayo, if he wants to win this fight, he should keep Gary on the ropes. And when he gets him on the ropes, don't let him run. You know what I'm saying? Don't let him get out. But that's exactly what he does. Gary puts up his hands and he moves to the side. But now they're starting to give Magasayo, they're saying he's up around 67, 66 for Magasayo. I don't know. You know, it's a good fight, but I just feel like Magasayo needs to do a little bit more, especially when you're going up against a champion. You have to do a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? You have to. You definitely have to. You can't just go in there, go through the motions, get out box, and not really understand that, you know, that's his own fault if he loses tonight, because he was doing really well. He was doing really good, but then he started getting caught. Then he started getting caught. He started getting cautious and didn't continue with his combinations. Didn't continue with a lot. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Garrett Russell Jr. fast as shit, dog. He fast as shit. His head movement is incredible. His head movement is incredible. Sheesh. Yeah, Magasayo's starting to bore me with that jumping up and down shit. You know what I'm saying? He's definitely starting to bore me. Moving up and down, not really doing shit, not being active, you know. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's pretty much even. Pretty much even. You know what I'm saying? This is going to come down to the wire, you know. This might be even a draw, to be honest with you. I have Gary Russell on my parlay. Magasayo, I sprinkled in some little money, but since you already know sports betting is rigged. They might be like, nah, this is a fucking, oh shit, that's a tough face match, yo. Yeah, I don't know. They may be like, yeah, it's a draw. It's a draw. It's a draw. Watch. The motherfuckers never let you win, yo. It's tough. You gotta do some crazy shit. Like, look at the Packers today. Took a L. Crazy. How the hell the Packers, the number one team, the team that looked like was going to win the Super Bowl, lose to these shitty ass 49ers? Doesn't make sense. You know, sports betting is rigged as fuck. Shit gotta be. Left hands, raining in. Those left hands are raining in. Ooh, big left hand from Gary Russell Jr. that lands on flush on Mark Magsayo. Mark Magsayo looks frustrated as hell, doesn't know how to cut off the ring. The same thing that Casemiro had problems with Regendow. Didn't know how to cut off the ring at all. You know what I'm saying? And it's simple as that. You know, Mark Magasayo doesn't have a dirty bone in his body. Uh I would have been elbowed the shit out of Gary Russell Jr. I'd have been elbowed the shit out of him. This is ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. See, this went, and then Mark Magasayo is now starting to get frustrated. When somebody gets frustrated when they land barely and they're talking about saying yeah, they're frustrated as shit. He's frustrated. Yeah, he's gonna lose this fight, or this fight is gonna be a draw for sure. 6 rounds apiece. Yeah, it started to get a little bit boring now. In the beginning, it was looking like it was brewing up to be a really good fight up until Gary Russell broke his hand and Gary Russell got very defensive. It's only right though. He broke his fucking hand, so it's only right you get very defensive because that's the only way you could really win is if you become very defensive, right? And I think that Gary Russell Jr. is doing a really good job at being defensive, not getting called by anything big of Mark Magasayo. And that's Mark Magasayo's problem, that he can't do anything with Gary Russell Jr. He can't do nothing. Like, he's just following. He's not cutting off a ring. He's not doing anything he's not doing shit. You know what I'm saying? He's not. He throws these weak ass jabs. He throws weak jabs. He's not doing shit. He's coming in. Doesn't have an ounce of dirty in his body, and that's where he messes up at. You know what I'm saying? These guys, yeah. My side looks defeated. 6 year, 10 months, 126 days, the longest reigning current male champion. Dun dun dun. 6 years, 10 months, 126 days. Gary Russell Jr. has been the longest reigning current male champion. Um, you know, this is gonna be the last fight we see Gary Russell Jr. until next year. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the crazy part. That's the thing about Gary Russell Jr. He's not active enough, right? I think that's what, like, fans, they can't really get with Gary Russell unless you really from around the way. You know what I'm saying? Because Gary Russell Jr., he only fights once a year. You know what I'm saying? And I would think that you would definitely want to fight more as a champion. But I wish that would happen. But we not gonna see Gary Russell up until next year. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's starting to get really boring now. Magsayo, he does not. It's like he doesn't know what he's doing in there. Honestly, they got Magsayo winning round 6 through now. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. Maybe they're tired of Gary Russell only fighting once a year, and they're like, "Fuck it, we're gonna take the belts away from him." Maybe that's it. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna take the belt away from him and give it to Magsayo, somebody that is more active. I don't know. Could be, but we'll see. We're in the 10th round with a minute and 50 seconds to go on the clock. And I don't know, man. I don't know. One arm fighter and Magasayo is not doing shit, dog. You know what I'm saying? One arm fighter. To be honest with you, I wouldn't give the belt to Magasayo. He's not showing any type of nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like I would be as a ref, I'd be like, hell no. Nah. There's no way I could give this fight to Magsayo. Like even though he might be winning, but it's just not looking. Well, I mean, I guess you don't look pretty against guys that are on their bicycle, right? But he only has one hand, bro. You know what I'm saying? He only has one hand. Like, dog, you gotta be more. You have to be more active. Like, he's not active enough for me. I don't think he's active enough. It's very frustrating. Russell is one armed, and Magasayo isn't taking advantage. It's one guy who can against one guy who won't. You know what I'm saying? One guy who can't and one guy who won't. And that's the problem here, man. It's like he's not active as shit. He's not taking advantage of Gary Russell Jr. being hurt. And that's a problem. You know what I'm saying? He's just jumping like a fucking retard in the middle of the fucking ring. And shit's getting annoying. Like it's getting boring now. You know what I mean? Ooh, big left hand that lands on Gary Russell Jr. that stumbled Gary Russell Jr. at the end of the belt. You know what I'm saying? We're going into the 11th round. I think that's the one punch that finally landed for Mike Gasol. That was a power punch and clean power punch. But other than that, you know, I don't know. You know what I'm saying one guy who can't and one guy who won't. And that's exactly what the perfect brew that we've got tonight, guys. One guy who can't and one guy who won't. Yeah, Russell Jr. His face is starting to look like his face is starting to starting to hurt up there. Starting to get a little bruised in there. Here we go. We in the championship rounds, 11th round. This is where Mark Magasayo has to turn it up, and he can't give a fuck. He has to watch for that left hand, and he has to turn up. He has to be, ooh, big right hand that sends Gary Russell. Well, here we go, guys. The unofficial scorecards got Magasayo winning 6 through 11 right now. 6 through 11. I mean through 10. And now Magasayo is starting to be a little bit more active, throwing combinations, catching Gary Russell Jr. way more. Now the fight is starting to be a little bit um, more thrilling, instead of the middle rounds are just horrific. The crowd is starting to get into it. The atmosphere is starting to go crazy. The fans are starting to cheer. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that it was probably more boring for the fans. They have to be there and watch that shit. But this is starting to be a little bit better here. Magasayo's starting to he's following too much though. That's the only problem. He's following way too much. and he doesn't know how to cut off the ring. And I think that's something he definitely has to go back to the drawing board and definitely work on. You know what I'm saying? Guys that move, how to beat them, because this is gonna be something that's gonna be very um it's gonna affect him in the long run, right? If he doesn't learn how to fight guys like this. I'm sure he sparred against guys like this, but he just didn't learn how to cut off the ring effectively, right? And Gary Russell Jr. is definitely a different type of animal in the ring, right? So we'll see. Nice body shot by Magsayo. Magsayo lands with a nice little uppercut to the body of Gary Russell Jr. And Gary Russell Jr. continues to try to outbox Magsayo. Magsayo catches Gary Russell Jr. in the corner. But yeah, Gary Russell Jr. is not looking too well right now. We are in the 11th round with 40 seconds to go on the clock. And Magsayo definitely has this round on lock for sure. The 11th round is definitely Magasayo's round. Um, yeah, Magasayo might be the winner here, guys, for sure. It, I just don't see, I just don't see Gary Russell Jr. getting the decision here. You know what I'm saying? He fought like a warrior for 12 rounds, with a broken shoulder, hand, whatever, knees and toes. But I just don't think that they're gonna give him this fight. Even though I feel like he's boxing pretty well, man. For especially for a guy with one hand, he's boxing really well, and I wouldn't be surprised if they gave it to him, honestly. This is a very 50-50 fight, honestly. Both fighters are going in at each other now. I mean, there were rounds where it was boring and you could give it either way, you know what I'm saying, depending on what you like. There were rounds in there that were really boring, weren't really thrilling at all, but now in the beginning it was very thrilling. Towards the middle it became very boring, and then now at the end, let's see if we could get fire race. The 11th round was pretty good, but this 12th round, Gary Russell, he needs to stay away from the power of Magsayo. Magsayo has to go in there and try to get and try to knock Gary Russell out, just to solidify it, right? Just to solidify it. But we'll see. Right here, right now, this is the 12th round. This is where you end it. This is where the fight ends, right here, right now. You leave it all on the line. WBC featherweight champion will be crowned tonight, and new or in still. Let's go. Magasayo putting in some combinations, probably missed all of those shots. And Gary Russell Jr. continues to move around, goes from side to side, and they've got Magsayo winning from round 6 to 11. Oh, nice overhand right by Magsayo. Let's see how Magsayo finishes strong. You know, let's see if Magsayo finishes strong. If Magsayo finishes strong, maybe he might get the victory. You know, but Gary Russell Jr. I'm impressed though. I'm impressed that he came into this fight, had a lot of heart, fought with a broken hand, shoulder, whatever it was, and he's still giving in work. You know what I'm saying? Catching Magasayo with that left hook the whole entire night. He's been catching Magasayo with a left hook the whole night. Magasayo honestly didn't make the adjustment for that left hook. That left hook keeps catching him every single time. He did not make one adjustment to try to move to the side that the left hook can't reach you in. You see what I'm saying? Move. There you go. Magasayo's now starting to put in some work on Gary Russell Jr. Gary Russell Jr. pulls away 1 minute and 10 seconds to go on the clock. And now this fight is starting to brew up. Can Magasayo get a knockout? I doubt it. Highly doubt it. But Magasayo is still in it. Gary Russell Jr. is still winning. Gary Russell Jr. has lifted his hands up and said he's won this. He kisses his left hand and fucking pours up a left hook on Magasayo. Magasayo can't see that left hook. Ooh, big left hand by Gary Russell Jr. Can Gary Russell Jr. get it done? It's 50 seconds left on the clock. Magasayo it's not really being active at all. Magasayo, I think he knows he won. Magasayo gets caught with a left hook. Magasayo tries some combinations. Gary Russell's too fast. Head movement for Gary Russell Jr. Magsayo does not engage. That's the problem here, though. It's 30 seconds left on the clock, and Magsayo is just not engaging enough. I mean, left hook by Gary Russell Jr. Very, 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 very equal fight. You know what I'm saying? Very equal fight. Let's see how the judges got it. We got 20 seconds left on the clock. Let's see how the judges see it, right? I think that this might even be a draw. I think they're going to give it a draw just because they're not going to want to take the champion's belt, win the champion at a broken hand. You know what I'm saying? Two big left hooks. Magsayo kind of laughs, but did he get it done? Did he get the job done? Did Gary Russell Jr. get the job done? We'll see. We'll definitely see. And it looks kind of like Gary Russell Pops knows that he might have lost this fight as well. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know, man. It's a very 50-50 fight. I bet y'all it's a draw. I bet y'all it's a draw. They might not crown nobody tonight, and then we might get this a second time. Honestly, I don't want to see this for a second time. Shit got boring. We will go inside the ropes and look at this fight in microcosm as we go back and look at some of the trends in this fight. But anybody could be the winner here, right? Anybody could be the winner here. I'm not mad at whoever wins, right? I just hope it's not a draw. I really hope it's not a draw because the money's not in the draw. But it could have been a very different fight, honestly, if Gary Russell wouldn't have broken his hand. Wow, that was some warrior shit from Gary Russell, though. I'll tell you that. Oh, not official, but I just feel like from the magnitude of the fight, very close fight, could go either way. I feel like it might have been a draw. Oh, did he? Yes, because I put up who did he fight? I put money on the other guy. Yo, my parlay still up for the MMA. That's crazy. I went all underdogs. We up right now. Then be talking about Brandon Moreno, right? He was robbed. Oh shit! I put money against them, bro. I ain't gonna lie, put money against them. Damn, but Magsayo did land. He jabs thrown 203. Gary Russell only 64. Granted, he did have a broken hand. Gary Russell did have a broken hand, but yeah, 64. Magsayo's face, it doesn't look like he was in too much of a big fight, honestly. We'll see. We'll see what the score looking like here. Damn, but from the 6th round to the 12th round, Gary Russell didn't throw one jab. Ain't that crazy? I mean, yeah, you could make the case that. I mean, I'm not mad at whatever the decision is. I just hope it's not a draw. That's what I'm praying. I'm just hoping that it's not a draw. I'm not mad at any of the decision. Yes, Magsayo definitely looks like he did more. Wow, the power punches. He landed 140 and he threw up 340. The total was 150 landed, 554 thrown by Magsayo. Gary Russell only landed 69 punches and threw for 323 punches. The body shots landed, Magsayo landed 26, and Gary Russell only landed 15. Was Gary Russell Jr. outworked? Yes, he was outworked. So we'll definitely see now what the official decision is. Yeah, Gary Russell Jr. didn't do enough, right? But the thing is, the majority decision. Oh man, don't tell me we have a majority draw here. Oh shit, I told y'all. Uh-oh, nope. Here we go. 115 to 113. And the new, oh man, Mark Magsayo with the victory over Gary Russell Jr., the longest reigning WBC champ. And I won me some money. I told y'all, sprinkle a little something on the plus money tonight. Mark Magasayo could have got the victory tonight, and that's exactly what happened. The only thing that I fucked up in, I only put 1 million up. I should have put two. I would have got me about 7 million. I would have been up 7 million right now. But I only put up 1 million, so that was my fault. But it's all good. It was the perfect storm, guys. It was the perfect storm. It was just Gary Russell going through a bunch of stuff. His father getting his foot amputated, his hand injury, missing weight, long layoff, and then breaking his hand tonight. I mean, it was just a bunch of things that was going on. And I said it early on my live. I said, sprinkle some money on that plus money tonight on Mark Magasal, because this was very much to happen, and it's exactly what happened. I thought it was going to be a draw, especially when the first judge says he tried to draw. I mean, the motherfucker tried to fuck me over. He said something about draw. Oh hell no! Nah. First judge tried to fuck me over. I knew I was kind of scared for a second there. You know what I'm saying? Because the draw was gonna kill both both my shit. You know. But yeah, I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. I mean, Mark Magasayo did. If you look at CompuBox, if you look at the punches landed, if you look at everything, Magasayo definitely did outwork Gary Russell Jr. Plus, Gary Russell Jr. He had a broken hand, obviously, right? I mean, simple as that. But I just feel like Magasao, he definitely needed to he needs to learn how to cut off the ring effectively. I mean, that was a piss poor performance from Magasao trying to cut off the ring. Um, but Magasao definitely is happy to be a champ. And I guess his family or trainers or from the Philippines are all crying because he's a world champ today. And, the featherweight division has been shaken up. And he said he's willing to fight. And let's see what Gary Russell Jr. has to say. So torn tendon in the right shoulder. Hasn't fought in almost two years. He said, he said I gave him a boxing land. He said he landed clean whenever he wanted to. He said he couldn't use the right arm, but he was still doing effective shots with the left hand. So 2 weeks ago, he knew that he might have messed up his shoulder. He says he's a true champion. That's what warriors do. And he refused to not compete and displays his skill sets to his fans. He says he will be back. He still wants to fight. He said he will get his shoulder fixed and he'll be right back at it. This dude with the dumbest question of the year. He said he felt like he won the fight.
It's possible. They wanted me to. It's an old injury. You know, I had this back in before the 2008 Olympics. They wanted me to go and get surgery on it. I refused to go and get surgery on it. They said I can strengthen the muscles around it to actually protect the tendon. Um, I didn't do it. I mean, I actually strengthened the muscles. I was able to get through a lot of my fights and stuff. But I heard it in my training camp. But once again, I'm a true soldier. I'm a dog at the end of the day. I refused to put this fight back, and I fought with one arm. He had his hands full with the fighter with one arm. The whole fight, I gave him a boxing lesson.
He said he had his hand full with a fighter with one arm.
Did he want to rematch? I don't know. But that's the question. I'll rematch him.
Gary Russell Jr. said he wants the rematch though.
Shoulder gets healed up, and we'll see you next time. Oh yeah, to my fans, man, I love y'all. Thank y'all for the support. I'm a true soldier all the way around the board. No retreat, no surrender. To my baby, Saber, Gianna, Harmony, Layla, Ali, man, come on, man. Daddy be on soon. I love y'all. Thank you, Gary. All right, Marlon, back to you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Jim, thank you very much. The proud father of six, Mr. Gary Russell Jr.
God damn, a proud father of six. Jesus Christ.
The sport come to an end, and for Mark Magsayo, indeed, proving to be magnifico as he
Magnifico Magsayo. Straight from hell and from the Philippines. Yeah, but I mean, it was a good fight. It was a good fight. Some slight, you know what I'm saying? Not the biggest fight that I was hoping for, but it was still a very respectable fight. I mean, nobody could call that Gary Russell Jr. was going to break his hand in the middle of the fight. You know what I'm saying? And I think that obviously played a part into his loss, but he was still doing good work. You know what I'm saying? He was still putting in good work. So we'll see. You know, maybe the rematch will be next. But I said it, guys. Sprinkle some money on the plus money tonight for my Magsayo. It was just brewing up to be the perfect fight for him to get this victory. It was brewing up to be the perfect fight for him to get this victory. Gary Russell had way too many distractions. Way too many distractions. Way too many distractions outside of the ring, and coming off of a long layoff, and Magsayo being active. And I still believe that Magsayo, he still needs to improve. There goes the trade of belts, trading of belts. I gotta get that back to Gary Russell, that other one. But yeah, I mean, congratulations to Mark Magsayo. Congratulations to Bro Matias, the earlier fight. Congratulations to the short notice opponent that came out and put his heart on the line. And I believe beat King Tug. You know what I'm saying?
Hate it or love it, the underdog's on top, and social media will be full of
But
hashtag
hell yeah.
and new. Let's go back.
And social media will be hashtag and new. Hey, great fight though. Great fight. I mean, not the biggest thriller that I was hoping for. You know what I'm saying? I was hoping for knockdowns, knockouts, and more. But nobody could have saw that Gary Russell was going to tear his shit in the middle of the fight. But I did say, guys, sprinkle some money on that plus money. Tonight we was getting the dub, and we got the dub. If you put some money on Magsayo, right? If you put some money on Magsayo, like I said, I had to go back and I had to think about it today when I saw all of the stuff. When Manny Pacquiao, congratulations, my Magsayo, on your first world championship. Thank you for bringing honor to our country by becoming the latest Filipino world boxing champion. Welcome to the club. And that's what Manny Pacquiao tweeted out as soon as the fight was over. Welcome to the club. But yeah, man. Like, comment, share, subscribe, hit that bell notification if you want to be notified Follow me on Instagram at P for P Boxing Real News. And we out. Peace.